मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
कुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीथि मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
की साधना में ध्येय
करं मधुरं वदनं मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरं हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
वचनं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं वसनं मधुरं वलितं मधुरं चलितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
पाणिर्मधुरः पादौ मधुरौ नृत्यं मधुरं सत्
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारी बरनौ रघुबर विमल जसु जोदायक फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसति लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सकै कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर है सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्योताहि मधुर फल जानू प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माही जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज संहारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे पारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता असवर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरना मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय।
Jai Shri Krishna. In Zoom meeting, if you want to turn off the notification of Zoom chats, then click on the chats and then click on these three dots. Turn off notifications, click on that. Click on the mute option and now chats notification will not disturb you. Jai Shri Krishna.
With the Geeta on the auspicious occasion of Geeta Jayanti. The Geeta Jayanti Olympiad has been launched by Geeta Pariwar. This Olympiad is open to everyone and participation is completely free of cost. The Olympiad includes 5 weeks and 5 special rounds where each round combines learning with play. And finally, there is the grand finale, a magnificent live competition. For every activity, you will earn credits, and these credits will help you move up the leaderboard. Along with the joy of playing, there are prizes worth ₹1 lakh, certificates, and special recognitions. So come, don't just read the Gita, live it, play with it, and celebrate it. Register now at play.learngeeta.com.
संस्थापकं वीरं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्।
Jai Shri Krishna everyone. I welcome you all to the interpretation session of Chapter 8, Akshar Brahma Yoga. Shri Krishna beautifully explains the significant concepts and also emphasizes the memory of Shri Hari in last moments of life. If one does so, he or she can definitely attain the moksha. With immense blessings and grace of Shri Krishna and Pujya Swamiji, Guru Govind Dev Giriji Maharaj, I would like to invite Leena Patel ji from Ahmedabad, who's a housewife, educated as MCom, likes cooking and business. She joined Geeta Pariwar in 2023 and she's serving as group coordinator, technical assistant and co-trainer in Geeta Pariwar. Welcome Leena Didi.
Recording in progress.
Leena Didi, your voice is not coming. Yes, Didi, now you can unmute yourself and start again, please.
Leena,
Didi,
did I
unmute.
send you the request? Please unmute yourself.
Didi, unmute yourself, please.
Didi, you again muted yourself. Didi, click on unmute option. I sent you the request. Just don't click on mute option. I'm again sending you option. Now click.
Yes.
Didi, your voice is not audible. Don't click on mute option. You are already.
No, Didi, I think the audio connection is something. Didi, audio connection, please click on the audio connection.
Didi, use headphone or something.
Yes. Didi, use earphones. Didi, should I say the prayer?
દીદી તમારો અવાજ નથી આવતો તમે હેડફોન કે કંઈક લગાડો દીદી better you also take
Yes.
the prayer.
वसुदेव सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. The light of the mighty lamp is powerful enough to erase the gaps of ignorance, unknown, joy, unknown, and grief, and spread around the glow of knowledge, joy, and awareness. For the lamp lighting, I would like to invite Dr. Lata Panchalji from Gandhinagar, who is employed in academics, educated as M. Pharma, PhD in Pharmaceutical Sciences. She likes singing and reading, and she joined Geeta Pariwar in April 2024. She's serving as technical assistant, TTG mentor, group coordinator, examiner, and co-trainer in L3. She has cleared Geeta Pathik exam. Welcome, Dr. Lata Didi.
निषिद्धैरप्येभिर्लुलितमकरन्दो मधुकरैः करैरिन्दोरन्तश्छुरित इव सम्भिन्नमुकुलः विधत्तां सिद्धिन्नो नयनसुभगामस्य सदसः प्रकीर्णः पुष्पाणां हरिचरणयोरञ्जलिरयम् शरदिन्दुनिभां शुभ्रां शुभ्रवस्त्रैरलङ्कृतां कलहंसकृतावासां वरदां शारदां नुमः.
Thank you, Lata Didi, for this beautiful diya lighting. Now, before we proceed on to the main session, I would like to give you a few guidelines. If you face any technical issues during the session, please follow some of the suggestions that I'm telling you. If there is no sound, plug in the headphones, or you can increase the volume of your phone or computer. If the chat box is blinking continuously, tap the bell icon at the top right corner to mute the notifications. If the voice is breaking or cutting, then you have to check the internet connection. If possible, use Wi-Fi instead of mobile data. If the screen is not visible, click on the start video in the Zoom. If the screen is blurry, this happens due to slow internet speed. You can try switching the network. If the Zoom keeps disconnecting, you can watch the sessions via the YouTube links. And if the Zoom suddenly closes, then you can rejoin using the meeting link. Then there is an announcement about the play.learngeeta.com where you can go for the Olympiad and you can play and test your knowledge and earn the credit points. Now is the time. Now is the time for this to know the scintillating star speaker of today's session, who is none other than Shri Vikas Vaidya. He has been NRI for 12 years and has been traveling around the world. He is educated as BE Mechanical and also postgraduated in DBM. He owns a small IT company. He's based in Pune. He's a master of many languages like English, Hindi, Marathi, Indonesian, Malaysian, and Spanish. Since last 5 years, in his daily routine, he recites 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita daily. He's serving as co-trainer for L1 and L4 levels and also serving in trainer selection department and trainers training department from L1 to L4 levels. He is fully involved in teaching and also in the Vivechan sessions of Vishnu Sahasranam as a member of the Pune Geeta Pariwar. He is guiding Geeta Vratis to prepare for Shringeri Peet Geeta exam also. He has given Geeta Kanthasti Karan exam at the Shringeri Peet and received first prize at the hands of Param Pujya Jagat Guru Shankaracharya ji. I welcome Vikas here.
वसुदेवसुदं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं जय श्री कृष्ण टू ऑल। परम पूज्य स्वामी जी के चरण कमलों में कोटि कोटि नमन। We are discussing a wonderful adhyay, Akshar Brahma Yoga, in which we are getting a direct training from Lord Shri Krishna as to how we should leave this world. We learn from Gita as to how we should conduct in our everyday life in the remaining 17 adhyayas. This adhyay is a unique adhyay which teaches us as to how we should give up our life, what should be the mental frame of our mind when we are breathing last, Antakal. Last time we concluded with slok number 9. Kavim Purana Manushasitara Manoraniyam Samanusmaredyah Sarvasya Dhata Ramachintya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasah Parastad. We'll continue. Actually, slok 9 and 10, they are interconnected. How they are interconnected, that we'll see. So 10th slok is Pranakali Manasa Chalena Bhaktya Yukto Yoga Balena Chaivo Gurur Madhye Pranamavesha Samyak Sadam Param Purushamapaiti Divyam. Pranakal, at the time of departure, at the time of death. Manasa Achalena, with an unwavering mind, Achalena. Bhaktya Yukta, endowed with devotion, Bhakti. Yog Balena Cha Eva, and indeed with power of yoga. Bhruvor Madhye, between the eyebrows, Bhruvor Madhye. Pranam Aveshya, fixing the life breath. Pranavayu fixing here, Bhruvor Madhye. How? Samyak, properly, steadily. Sah, that person, Tama, him, Param Purusham, Upaiti. Param Purusha is the Supreme Lord. Upaiti attains Divyam, divine. So the one who at the time of death, Prayanakale, through the power of yoga, Yoga Valena Chaiva, established his prana between the eyebrows, Gurur Madhya Pranamaveshya Samyak, with a steadfast mind and full of devotion, Bhaktya Yukto, abides in the divine remembrance, he attains the supreme, glorious, magnificent, dazzling, splendid Param Purush, Paramatma. So in this sloka, Shri Krishna Bhagavan describes the inner state of the realized yogi at the moment of death. As we discussed last time, this adhyay is all about death only. So this word death will come repeatedly. So the inner state of realized yogi at that moment of death, that is being described by Lord Shri Krishna in this sloka, revealing that liberation is not accidental. Liberation, moksha, salvation is not accidental, but the culmination of lifelong spiritual discipline. Death, according to Bhagavad Gita, is not merely a biological event. It is a decisive spiritual transition where consciousness moves towards its final destination. The phrase Prayana Kale highlights the critical importance of the last moment. What dominates the mind at the death that shapes the soul's future journey. Hence, Sri Krishna Bhagavan emphasizes Manasa Achalena, an unwavering, steady mind. Such steadiness does not arise suddenly. It is cultivated through years of practice in self-control, meditation, and detachment. The second essential component of this is bhakti, bhaktya yukto, loving devotion. The yogi is not relying solely on the technical control of breath and concentration. It's not a mechanical process only, but it should be bhaktya yukta, deeply united with the devotion to the Supreme. This devotion, it transforms meditation from mechanical exercise into a living relationship with the God. So meditation, yes, it helps, of course, but that mechanical process gets connected with the living relationship with the God with bhaktya yukta, with devotion, with bhakti. Further, God says yoga balena refers to the inner strength acquired through disciplined yogic practice, control of senses, control of breath regulation, and focused awareness. That is yoga balena. Yoga here is not merely posture or breath, but mastery over the mental fluctuations. When this yogic power is combined with devotion, bhaktya yukto, the seeker, the devotee, gains the capacity to direct consciousness deliberately. So he uses his yogic power as well as bhakti to attain God. And that process God is explaining in this shloka. The instruction Bhruvor Madhye Pranam Aveshya describes the yogic technique of fixing the life force, prana, at the space between the eyebrows. This is called the Ajna Chakra. Symbolically, this represents transcending bodily identification and anchoring the awareness in the higher consciousness. The eyebrows are the meeting point of our two nadis, Ida and Pingala, where duality dissolves. The result of this sacred alignment is profound. When this process is followed, what do we get? Satam param purusham upayiti divyam. The seeker attains the divine supreme person, Paramatma. Liberation here is not absorption into emptiness, but union with the conscious, the radiant reality that is the Paramatma. Thus, this shloka teaches us that moksha is achieved through the harmony of devotion, bhakti, discipline, yoga, and steady remembrance. Devotion, yoga, and steady remembrance. The death becomes not an end, but a gateway to divine realization. When you follow this practice, the death is not an end. It's a gateway to the divine realization of God. So as I said earlier, Shlok 9 and 10, Prayana Kali Manasa Chalena, and this Shlok, earlier Shloka, they are interconnected. The Shlok that we read last time, the 9th Shloka, was Kavim Purana Manushasitara Manoraniyam Samarasmaridyaha Sarvasthata Ramachinti Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasah Parastat. And this Shloka, Prayana Kali Manasa Chalena Bhaktya Yukto Yoga Balena Chaiva Bhruvar Madhye Pranamavesha Samyak Satam Param Purushamapaita Divyam. These are interconnected. God is omniscient, the most ancient one, Purana Purusha, the controller, subtler than the subtlest, the supporter of all, the support of all, the possessor of inconceivable divine form, Achintya Rupam. He is brighter than the sun and beyond all darkness of ignorance. One who at the time of death, with unmoving mind, attained through practice of yoga, fixed the prana, life air, between the eyebrows and steadily remembers the divine Lord with great devotion, certainly attains him. So this is the process we follow at the time of death, and we attain the God. That is the promise from Lord Krishna. Meditation upon God can be of various types. One can meditate upon the names of God, the forms of the God, the qualities of the God, the abodes of the God, hobbies of the God, actions of the God, or the associates of the God. All these different types of supreme divinity are non-different than Him. They are Him only. When we attach our mind to any one of these, our mind comes into the divine world and becomes purified. Hence, any or all of these can be made the object of meditation. Which are these things? What we read just now. Any of these things, names, forms, qualities, abodes, hobbies, actions, associates of God. You can meditate on any of these and can enter into the divine world and can become purified. Hence, any or all of these can be made the object of our daily meditation. Here, the 8 qualities of God, Supreme Lord, have been described, which can be meditated upon. Kavim Purana Manusha Sitara Manoharaniyam. So, first is Kavi. Kavi means poet or seer, a philosopher, a thinker. And by extension, Kavi means omniscient, Sarvajnani. As God knows the past, He knows the present, and He knows the future also. In 7th Adhyaya, we have learned this. Vedam samati itani vartamanani charjana. Bhavishyani cha bhutani mantavedana kaschana. He is omniscient. He knows the past, He knows the present, He knows the future. So He is omniscient. Kavim. Puranam means without beginning and the most ancient. Puran. God is the origin of everything, spiritual and material. But there is nothing from which He is originated and nothing that precedes Him. So He is Puranam. Then Anusha Sitaram means the ruler. God is the creator of laws by which the universe functions. He governs its affairs directly or through His appointed celestial gods. Thus, everything is under His regime. He is Anusha Sitaram. Anoraniyam means subtler than the subtlest. Soul is subtler than the matter, but God is seated within the soul, and hence He is subtler than the soul also. Sarvasiddhata means the sustainer of all. Just as the ocean is the support of all waves that emanate from Him, God is Sarvasiddhata. Achintya Rupam means of inconceivable form. Since our mind and senses can only conceive material form, God is beyond the scope of our material mind and material senses. That's why He is Achintya Rupa. However, if He bestows His grace, then by His Yoga Maya power, He makes our mind divine in nature and becomes conceivable. Otherwise, He is inconceivable, Achintya. Aditya Varna. That means He is glorious, magnificent, dazzling, and splendid like the sun, Aditya. Tamasa Parastat means beyond the darkness of ignorance. Just as the sun can never be covered by the clouds, even though it may seem to us that it has been obscured, it has been hidden, but it does not get hidden. Similarly, God too can never be covered by the material energy, even though He may be in contact with it in the world. God cannot be covered by anything. And as we discussed in the last session also, in bhakti, the mind is focused upon the divine attributes of God's forms, of qualities, etc. When bhakti is performed by itself, it is called Shuddha Bhakti. Bhakti is performed by bhakti only, it is called Shuddha Bhakti. When it is performed alongside Ashtanga Yoga, what is Ashtanga Yoga? Eightfold Yoga: Yam, Niyam, Pratyahar, Asan, Pranayam, Dhyan, Dharana, and Samadhi. This is Ashtanga Yoga. When bhakti is associated with this Ashtanga Yoga, it is called Yoga Mishra Bhakti. Devotion alloyed with Ashtanga Yoga. In this Adhyaya, Shri Krishna Bhagavan will describe Yoga Mishra Bhakti. Ashtanga Yoga plus devotion. From slok 10 to 13, we are learning this Mishra Bhakti, Yoga Mishra Bhakti. One of the beauties of Bhagavad Gita is that it embraces a variety of sadhanas, thereby bringing people of a diverse upbringing, background and personalities in its embrace. When Western scholars attempt to read Bhagavad Gita or Hindu scriptures without guidance of a guru, they get confused by the variety of paths, by the variety of instructions, by the variety of philosophical viewpoints in various scriptures. They get confused. However, this variety is actually a blessing for us because of the samskars of endless lifetimes through which the human beings go through. We all have different nature and different preferences. For example, when 4 people go to buy clothes in a shop, they end up choosing different colors, different forms, different styles, different fashions. All 4 don't buy one cloth, one type of cloth. If the shopkeeper gives only one color and one style, he would be unable to cater to the variety of inherent human nature because everybody's choice is different. Similarly, on the spiritual path also, people have performed various sadhanas in their past lifetimes. Everybody has performed different sadhana in his past lifetime. The Vedic scriptures embrace that variety, while simultaneously stressing bhakti, devotion to the God, as the common thread that ties them all together. So the spiritual sadhana of everybody could be different, but bhakti is the one binding thread for all the sadhanas. And by virtue of power of yoga, the jnani makes his prana ascend from sushumna, then establishes it firmly in the midpoint between the eyebrows. We'll see what is sushumna, ida, pingala, or that. Actually, the actual point is much deeper. It's not here on the surface. It's much deeper. It's in the brain. This point is called Ajna Chakra. How to know the exact location of Ajna Chakra? Imagine a rod passing through midpoint of eyebrows at the left side of the spine, associated with the left nostril, controls the mental process and gives energy to our emotions. That is Ida Nadi. It represents the lunar energies, Chandra. This is also called Chandra Nadi. Rules over the left side of the body and right side of the brain. Left side of the body and right side of the brain. This is Ida Nadi. What is Pingala Nadi? Located on the right side of the spine, associated with the right nostril, full of energy, adding vitality, physical strength, and efficiency. Activates the right side of the body and left hemisphere of the brain. So this is the Ida and Pingala. And what is Sushumna? It runs along the spinal cord in the center. Ida, Pingala are on the sides. Sushumna is in the center of the spine. Through the 7 chakras is go through. The central space. A moment when both nostrils flow freely. Either our right nostril is active or left. But Sushumna, both are equally active. That is the Sushumna stage. The Ida and Pingala nadis represent the basic duality in existence, which can be personified as masculine and feminine. The balance of these nadis is important for harmony, peace, physical and mental strength. Shri Krishna Bhagavan is speaking very technical point here. Very technical point here. He is mentioning specific practices and gaining expertise while we still have the time. We can practice this through pranayam. How to balance our sushumna. When such an adept yogi establishes his prana at the time of death, Bhruvar Madhya and in Agya Chakra, his prana will then exit from the 10th gate of the body. In 5th Adhyaya, we have learned 9 gates. Navadvari Puri Dehi Naiva Kuruna Karen. In 5th Adhyaya. Now, 9 gates we have learned. 2 plus 2 plus 2, 6, 7 and 2 for body waste disposal. So 9 gates we know. But now we are talking of the 10th gate. Where is the 10th gate? Brahmarandra. Brahmarandra is the 10th gate. The yogi, through this daily practice of bringing their prana to this Agya Chakra, They practice this, bringing prana to Agya Chakra, and you will see yogis who practice this daily, they will have a sort of, you will see as if there is some tumor or what here at the top of the head on the Brahmarandra. Because they open that gate. They open that gate like the 9 gates of the body, they open that gate. So that at the time of death, they can easily exit from this Brahmarandra. When that happens, the life force passes through the Brahmarandra, the 10th gate of the body, then what bondage, what birth, what death? For such a liberated soul, all this does not exist then. If its prana passes through that 10th gate of the body, the Brahmarandra. And that is the practice the yogis do. I have seen a yogi in Pune who had this kind of sort of tumor here. It was a tumor, it was opening of that Brahmarandra through yogic practice. So if we want to follow the practice of attaining moksha, we must know that we cannot bypass the process of perfecting the practice of pranayam. Pranayam is a must. Then the discipline of yoga that deals with the awakening of chakras in our body. Because we have to establish our pranavayu at the Agya Chakra. But God will make it simpler for us in the coming shlokas. Next shloka. Yadaksharam veda vido vadanti vishanti yadyattayo vitaragaha yadichanto brahmacharyan charanti tattevadam sangrahena pravakshe. Yadaksharam, which imperishable reality? Veda vida, knower of Vedas. Veda is to know, Veda is Veda. Knower of Vedas, Veda vida. Vadanti, Vadanti is to declare, to say. Vishanti, Vishanti is to enter. Yat, which, Yatayaha, the yogi, the ascetic. Vitaraga, Vit is to give up, relinquish. What? Raga, attachment. Vitaraga, free from attachment. Yat ichhanta, desiring which? Brahmacharyam charanti, practicing celibacy, brahmacharya. Tata te padam, that state to you, sangrahena, briefly, pravakshe, I will explain. So Shri Krishna Bhagavan says, scholars of Vedas, Veda Vida, describe him as imperishable, yet aksharam, great ascetics, sannyasis, practice the vow of celibacy and renounce the worldly pleasures to enter into him. They follow the principle of celibacy, renounce the worldly pleasures and enter into him. What does it mean? We will see that. God says, I shall now explain all that to you in brief. How to attain that goal? Here Lord Shri Krishna introduces the Parabrahma. He is talking about Parabrahma, the imperishable absolute. As the ultimate spiritual goal recognized across all authentic paths is that Parabrahma we have to attain. This shloka is significant because it unifies the Vedic knowledge, ascetic discipline, yogic discipline, and devotional aspiration. So Vedic knowledge, yogic discipline, and devotional aspiration, all three are combined in this shloka into a single spiritual destination. How these three lead to the single spiritual destination? The word aksharam means that which never decays or never perishes, aksharam. Unlike the body, unlike the mind, or even the heaven, Parabrahma is eternal and unchanging. The Vedas, knowers of Vedas, seers of highest wisdom, unanimously affirm this as reality, as the supreme goal. The supreme goal is aksharam that we have to attain. Shri Krishna Bhagavan further states the yatis, renunciates free from the worldly attachments, vitaraga. They enter this state of aksharam. Renunciation here does not mean rejection of life, but freedom from compulsive desires. Only when the attachment fades can consciousness expand beyond ego. The phrase brahmacharyan charanti refers to disciplined living in alignment with the Parabrahma. Disciplined living in alignment with the Parabrahma. Brahmacharya here is not merely physical celibacy. It is the conservation and sublimation of vital energy towards spiritual realization. So whatever energy you have gained through your yogic practice, your daily sadhana, that you have to use that vital energy towards spiritual realization. That is brahmacharya and charanti. And not waste that energy in other physical pleasures. Those who yearn for Brahma naturally adopt restraint, simplicity and purity. Importantly, Shri Krishna Bhagavan promises to explain this state sangrahena, concisely, in short, indicating that while the scriptures are vast, truth itself is simple. When directly experienced, it is sangrahena. In short, it can be explained. Don't have to read thick books. This shloka teaches us that liberation is universally acknowledged, irrespective of spiritual approach, knowledge, renunciation, or disciplined devotion. It is universally acknowledged liberation. All sincere seekers ultimately move towards the same imperishable reality. God has been referred to by many names in Vedas. Some of the names of God in Vedas are Sat, Avyakrut, Prana, Indra, Deva, Brahma, Paramatma, Bhagavan, and Purush. These are all the names of God in Vedas. In various places, God is referred to as Akshara, means imperishable. In this shloka, Shri Krishna Bhagavan is describing the path of Yoga Mishra Bhakti. We discussed what is Yoga Mishra Bhakti. Ashtanga Yoga plus devotion is Yoga Mishra Bhakti. To attain the formless aspect of God, Aksharam. The word Sangrahena means in brief. He will describe the path only briefly and not emphasize on it, since the path is not suitable for everyone. Everybody has a different path and it is not suitable for everyone. But what is this path? What God is going to explain. On this path, one must perform severe austerities, renounce the worldly desires, practice brahmacharya, brahmacharya charanti, and live a life of rigid continence. That means the ability to control your feelings and emotions, especially the desire to have physical intimacy, physical sex. Through this, a person's physical energy gets conserved and then transformed through sadhana into spiritual energy. So the energy conserved through this yogic meditation practice should be getting transferred through sadhana into spiritual energy. Energy is energy. An aspirant who practices celibacy enhances memory power and the intellect for comprehending the spiritual topics that we are discussing. A person who does not follow the principles of celibacy, he may find it difficult to absorb this knowledge. But brahmacharya or celibacy does not mean enforce sexual inactivity. It does not mean that. The one who has waves of sexual urges arising in his mind, but who forcibly tries to suppress these urges, such a person cannot be termed as a celibate, as a brahmachari. Then who is celibate? Who is brahmachari? He who no longer desires sexual gratification, who no longer wants momentary carnal pleasures, who seeks unceasing bliss. Thus, there are no sexual urges arising in mind at all. Such a person, even when he has to enter into the act of reproduction, even that is not an act of sex gratification for him. Such a communicant, he too is meditative. Such a person is meditative. But there is no underlying physical or mental sexual urge or desire in him. A small story related to this. Once a young man, he approached a Mahatma and he said, Maharaj, I am very sad. I am very sad. And I am disillusioned in my life. Because the women I love always leave me. The Mahatma replied, so what is it? She deserted you. You are young, handsome. Many women will find you attractive. Why you run after only one woman? Many women will be running after you. The young man said, I don't think so. No woman seems to be attracted to me. The Mahatma made him read a scripture in which it was mentioned, the one who energizes his body with prana his body glows with great luster of scores of Kamadeva, god of love. He continued, this body is made up of flesh and bones, in which prana present is dormant. So the first one who has awakened his prana, because when the body is suffused with prana, its glow is such that the even heavenly damsels and apsaras begin to be after you, ready to fall at your feet. The Mahatma continued, my son, start practicing pranayam. Slowly and surely, you will become winsome. And not only one, but several women will fall for you. Listening to the consoling words of Mahatma, and at the same time, he had lust for women. The young man exclaimed, Maharaj, now I feel relieved. I know the way now. Thank you so much. You have shown me the way. At the moment, whichever girl I find attractive, either she turns away from me or insists on tying a rakhi on my hand, saying that I have no brother and you are my brother. So with this object of wooing the women, that fellow, he started learning pranayam and mudras from that Mahatma with great interest and dedication. The objective was clear in his mind, to woo women. In this way, 6 months elapsed. His mind, which was earlier very restless, became calmer. One day he asked, Gurudev, the shloka from scripture that you made me to read, I understand that it is absolutely authentic. But a doubt has entered my mind now. The aim with which I started off the practice was to energize my body with prana so as to make it extremely attractive. But following these practices, my mind is now becoming a bit strange. Now there is no desire to even look at a girl. I have been practicing briefly and already my mind has turned away from that attraction towards the women. Then what will the benefit of cultivating this pranic energy and a lustrous body? My objective was that. The Mahatma replied, my dear son, we will talk about it after another 6 months. Continue this. During the next 6 months, the young man continued his practice and visited Mahatma regularly. His mind started becoming integrated. Celibacy, brahmacharya, became a natural way of life for him. He was slowly getting established in yoga. Seeing his consistency, the Mahatma thought of putting him to test. He instructed some of his female disciples to approach him with a proposal of love. They carried out the instructions as directed by the Mahatma, but the young man rejected all their proposals of love. He came to Mahatma and said, whatever I wanted is happening today. The girls are running after me. And this is exactly, you also had told me that this will happen. And now I am realizing this is happening. But the funny thing is that now there is no desire in me anymore. I started yogic practice, pranayam and sadhana that you taught me with this objective to make myself attractive so that the women run after me. Now the women are running after me, but I have no desire. Now those of you who have watched the movie Guide of Devanand, you will remember the end of that movie. The movie is almost similar to the hero that we are talking. And at the end of the movie, after being forced into some spiritual sadhana by the villagers, the hero Devanand says at the end of the movie, now I can get whatever I want. He becomes that yogi at the end of the movie. He does fasting unto death so that the rains fall. People believe him in that and they really fall. So he says at the end of the movie that now I can get whatever I want. I want a rain to fall. Rain is falling now. I can get whatever I want. But now the funny thing is, I have no wants. I have no desires at all. The subject of this shloka is precisely this. This is conveyed by Shri Krishna in earlier adhyas also, in 6th adhyay, 40th shloka. Yada hinendriya ardheshu na karma sunushajyate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga rudhastu dachyate. Same principle God is telling here. That means if you go on the path of spirituality, these things come in your way naturally. You don't have to strive hard for it then. So spirituality, these are the benefits of spirituality. They do not work hard on cutting down your habits. They get cut down automatically. Next shloka. Sarvadvarani sanyamya manordhinirdecho murdhyadhayatmanah pranamasido yogadharanam. Sarvadvarani. All gates, all sense organs that we discussed, nine gates of the body. Sanyamya, restraining. Mana is mind. Hridhi niruddhya, fixing in the heart. What does it mean? We'll see that. Murdhi adhaya, placing in the crown of the head, in the Brahmarandra. Atmanaha pranam, one's life breath. Asthita, established. Yogadharanam, yogic concentration. So God says, restraining all the gates of the body, 9 gates. Tavadvarya Puredehi, that we know 9 gates, 2, 2, 2, 7, and 2 for body waste disposal, 9 gates. Restraining all them. And fixing the mind in the heart region. Manordhinirdeja. And then drawing the life breath to the head. One should get established in the steadfast yogic concentration, yoga dharanam. This is the preparation for living the life, taking the last breath of the earth. This shloka provides a precise inner methodology for conscious departure from the body. Shri Krishna Bhagavan describes the yogic discipline required to transcend the physical existence without confusion or fear. So there should not be any fear in mind when we are leaving this body. Sarvadvarani Sanyamya refers to closing all sensory gateways, sight, hearing, touch, taste and smell. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, close all the gates. At death, sense naturally becomes withdrawn. The yogi does so consciously. This inward withdrawal prevents the mind from clinging to the external material world. Next is, the mind is fixed in the heart, Hridhi Niruddhya. The symbolic seat of consciousness and devotion is our heart. This inward anchoring stabilizes awareness, preventing panic or distractions. Then the prana is raised to the crown of the head, Murdni Adhaya. This ascent of life energy through Sushumna Nadi, we discussed what is Sushumna Nadi, it represents liberation from bodily identification. Yogic text affirm that exit through the 10th gate, that is the crown, leads to the higher world and ultimate freedom from the life of from the cycle of birth and death. The yogi thus becomes Asthito Yoga Dharanam, firmly established in deep concentration. Death is transformed into a meditative act. It is not destruction of body, but the death is considered in this shloka as meditative act. So the people who go through meditation, who practice meditation every day, for them, death is the link in their meditational practice. So this shloka teaches us that liberation requires mastery over senses, indriya, mind, and vital energy. That means the prana vayu, achieved through lifelong yogic practice. See how the world enters into our mind. The external world enters into our mind. How? We first see, we hear, we touch, we taste, and we smell the objects of perception. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Then the mind dwells upon these objects. Repeated contemplation, it creates attachment, which automatically creates further repetition of thoughts in our mind. Restraining sense is thus an essential part of locking the mind inside. Locking the mind and not allowing it to go outside. A practitioner of meditation who neglects this point has to keep grappling with the continuous stream of worldly thoughts that the unrestrained senses create. Hence, Shri Krishna Bhagavan delivers the instructions to guard the gates of body, Sarvadvarani Sanyamya. The word Sarvadvarani Sanyamya means controlling all passages that enter the body. This implies restricting the senses from their normal outgoing tendencies. The word Hridhi Niruddhya means locking the mind in the heart. What does it mean, locking the mind in the heart? That means don't allow the mind to go outside, keep it inside, keep it in the heart. This implies directing devotional feelings from the mind to Akshara Brahma, that is imperishable Supreme Lord, enthroned there in our heart. The word Yoga Dharana means uniting the consciousness with the God. This refers to meditation upon Him with complete attention. So these are the preparations we are making. Then what should we do next after we take this stage, this step? Next sloka. Om ityekaksharam brahma vyaharan mamanusmaran yah prayatityajan deham sayati paramangatim. Om iti. Om thus. Ekaksharam, the single syllable. Brahma. Brahma, Parabrahma. Vyaharan. Vyaharan is to utter. Uttering. Mama at anusmaran. Remembering me. Yah, who, prayati, goes, departs, tyajan deham, abandoning the body, saha, he, yati, attains, paramangatim, the supreme destination. So all the steps that we have discussed so far, this is the end of the step. One who departs from the body while remembering me, Mamanusmaran, the supreme personality, that is God, and chanting the syllable Om, Ekaksharam Brahma, will attain the supreme goal. So after we do all that Sarvadharana Samyamya Mandaradhirja Murdhya Dayat Mana Pranamastu Yoga Dharanam, the next step is this. Om iti kaksharam brahma vyaharan mamarasparan yah prayati tajan deham sayati paramangatim. The climatic shloka reveals the most sacred secret of liberation, moksha, remembrance of God through Om, the primal sound of creation. Om is ekaksharam brahma, one syllable absolute, who is Om. It contains within it the entire cosmos, time and consciousness. Chanting of Om at the death aligns the individual soul with that cosmic reality. However, Shri Krishna Bhagavan adds a crucial condition. सिर्फ ओम कहने से काम नहीं चलेगा. मामनुस्मरण, remembering me. Sound without devotion is incomplete. Only sound has no meaning unless there is devotion with it. When uttering Om with loving awareness of Supreme, it becomes a bridge to liberation. If you want to get connected with the moksha, then Om with devotion is necessary. Not only chanting Om, you may not get the God. Om with devotion, Mamanusmaran and Om, both have to happen. That is the bridge to the liberation. The seeker who departs in this state, Paramangatim, the highest goal, he transcends the rebirth entirely. Paramangatim. This is not merely heavenly enjoyment, but eternal union with the divine itself. Much, much higher than the heaven. Thus, this shloka teaches that simplest yet highest path is living remembrance of God at the time of death, where sound, devotion and consciousness, all these merge into one liberating act. Sound of Om, devotion and consciousness. When they merge into this one liberating act, Om iteka aksharam brahma vyaharan mamaraswaran yah prayati tanjendeyam sayati paramangatim. Basically, through this shloka, Shri Krishna Bhagavan has essentially clarified the entire process of attaining supreme goal, attaining moksha. The Lord has clearly explained what to do and how to do it. The foremost step is closing all the 9 exit doors of the senses, and this can be achieved through certain well-defined practices like Yoni Mudra. Yoni Mudra involves the following. Close the anal exit through pressure exerted through the right heel. In females, the left heel is used to close the vaginal outlet. And in males, the left heel exerts the pressure on the perineum. That is the area of the skin between the anus and the external genitalia. Then the thumb, the middle, the ring and the little fingers are used to close your ears, eyes, nose and mouth respectively. Sarvadvarani Sayamya. Now one may ask, how can you breathe if the nose and mouth have been closed? Well, this is where the practice of pranayam comes to our help. When we do Brahmari, we close our eyes, ears, nose also, but we still can breathe. Thus, having balanced the Ida and Pingala nadis, closing the 9 doors and performing either the Antar Kumbhak, what is Antar Kumbhak? Suspending the breath after inhalation. Suspend. That is Antar Kumbhak. Or Bahya Kumbhak. Bahya Kumbhak is when you exhale, then you again suspend, taking breath inside. That is Bahya Kumbhak. When you do this, when you steadfastly fixate your entire concentration on the midpoint between the eyebrows, Bhura Madhya, the energy dormant in the Sushumna Nadi gets awakened and ascends, goes up, starts moving up. And it is only then, after attaining this state as described now, that one mentally recites the syllable Om. So after this pranayam practice, when you are bringing the prana here, Bhru or Madhya, then you have to chant Om. And that too mentally, not loudly, mentally. Because Sarva Dvarani Sayyam, you have sealed your mouth also. So how can you open your mouth to say Om, Om, Om? You cannot say that. Mentally chanting Om. And such a man who, having achieved this state, reciting Om at the time of death, undoubtedly he attains the supreme abode, reaches the Param Gati, the supreme destination. And this is beyond doubt. This is a promise from Shri Krishna. How can we doubt it? It is not a matter of chance, but an absolute certainty guaranteed by Shri Krishna. Follow this practice and you get me. That is a guarantee from Shri Krishna. How should we start this process? To recapitulate, keep on practicing slow and deep breathing first. Slow and deep breathing, pranayam. Keeping the practice of Nadi Shodhan pranayam. Learn it from a teacher. If we don't know what is a Nadi Shodhan pranayam, but it's simple Nadi Shodhan pranayam. Nothing great about it. Nothing much different than Anulom and Vilom. Because it affects the 72,000 subtle channels through which the prana flows in our body. The vital force enabling optimal functioning of each and every organ in the body. Now, what is Nadi Shodhan pranayam? Many of you may be knowing it, but no harm in repeating it. Nadi Shodhan pranayam is a breathing technique that involves inhaling and exhaling each nostril in turn, through each nostril in turn. It is also known as alternate nostril breathing. Benefits of Nadi Shodhan pranayam are: it calms the mind and body, it relieves the stress and anxiety, it improves the breathing, it strengthens the lung muscles, it lowers our blood pressure, and it balances the left and right hemispheres of the brain. Because they are balancing Ida and Pingala. Now, how to do it? Quickly, how to do it? Sit in a comfortable position with a straight spine. Keep your shoulders relaxed and face neutral. Close your eyes and mouth. Place your left hand on your left knee. Hold your middle and index finger towards your thumb. Middle and index finger towards your thumb. Keep your ring and little finger straight together. Little and ring finger straight together. Place your open right palm on your knee. Inhale deeply through right nostril for a count of 4. Right nostril. Hold your breath for a count of 16. Exhale deeply through the left nostril, count of 8. 8. Remain breathless for a count of 16. When you leave your breath through the left nostril, remain breathless. That is Bahya Kumbhak for count of 16. Inhale from the left nostril for a count of 4. Repeat the process through the alternating nostrils. So the Nadi Shodhan pranayam and Anulom Vilam, the only difference is that in Nadi Shodhan, we do the Bahya Kumbhak also. Not only Antar Kumbhak, but Bahya Kumbhak also. The practice of Nadi Shodhan pranayam improves the flow of this prime life force prana throughout our body. And later, you complemented this with the following practice. Inhale to the count of 2. Retain the inhaled breath to the count of 8. exhale to the count of 4, and then hold the breath out to the count of 1. So continuous practice of above this practice, what we discussed, not only improves your breathing and overall health, but it also aids internalizing the mind. Be observant of the breath, and awakening of awareness happens automatically. So these shlokas 11 to 13, what we are discussing, are extremely important to understand this path laid down by Shri Krishna. He has laid down this path for us. This is the way you can get moksha. I am teaching you how to get moksha. We won't attain Krishna by just chanting Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna. We won't attain Krishna. Practice, practice, and practice. This is the only way of attaining Lord Krishna. Yes, the chanting alone helps. Chanting does help, because it aids in concentrating our fragmented mind, impure mind. And only the one with focused and purified mind can carry out these practices. So chanting definitely helps us. The chanting of Lord's name, the Vedic scriptures also state that God first created the sound. From sound he created the space, and then proceeded further in the process of creation. The original sound was Om. As a result, it is accorded so much importance in Vedic philosophy. It is also called Mahavakya. Om is a Mahavakya, or great sound vibration of Vedas. It is also called Bija Mantra. Om is a Bija Mantra, because it is often attached to the beginning of Vedic main mantras, like Rim, Krim, Klim, Rim, Klim. Om also is said in Vedic mantras. The vibration of Om consists of 3 letters, A, U, Ma. In the proper chanting of Om, one begins by making the sound A. That is Om. A, U, and Ma. Ma should be the longest. This is merged into the chanting of U, then Ma. So the 3 letters A, U, Ma have many meanings and interpretation in Adhyatma. For devotees, Om is the name of impersonal aspect of God. The Pranav sound, that means the Om sound, is the object of meditation in Ashtanga Yoga. In the path of Bhakti Yoga, devotees prefer to meditate upon the personal names of God. Shri Ram, Shri Krishna, Shiva Bhagavan. They are the personal names of God. So devotees prefer meditating upon the personal names of God, because of greater sweetness in God's bliss in these personal names. Personal name has a different attraction for us. If you want to meditate upon Nirgun Nirakar, we don't know what to meditate upon. But we know we are meditating on Krishna, we know what is Krishna. The distinction is like the difference between having a baby in the womb and baby on the lap. The joy of having baby on your lap is far more delightful than the baby in the womb, isn't it? But remember, the final examination of our meditation is at the time of death. Daily meditation, fine, but the final exam is at the time of death. Those who are able to fix their consciousness upon God despite the intense pain of death. Death is not a very happy thing to happen, no? It gives intense pain. And those who enter into this kind of meditation at the time of death, they pass this exam. This is a mental meditation. You cannot take physical posture as explained in these shlokas. Mentally you have to do it. Such persons attain the supreme destination upon leaving their body. This is extremely difficult and requires a lifetime of practice. In the next few shlokas, Bhagavan Shri Krishna gives an easy way of gaining such mastery of remembering God at the time of death. The question always comes to our mind, if we are in a stage when we cannot even sit and stand, we are in half coma, we don't know what is happening around us, how to remember God and follow all these practices which God is expecting us to do to attain moksha? How to do it all that? Krishna Bhagavan understands our problems. He explains how to do it. If you cannot do that, do at least this. How a common man who finds it difficult to practice the methods in above shlokas can attain the God, endowed with attributes and forms. Sagun Sakar. Bhagavan says, slok number 14, Ananyacheta satatai yomam smarane tishaha tasyaham sulavah partha nityayuktasya yoginaha. Very important slok. Partha, the yogi who perpetually thinks of me with exclusive, undivided devotion and remains absorbed in me, to him I am easily attainable. Tasyam Surva Partha, I am easily available. Ananyacheta, God says Ananyacheta, with undivided mind. Satatam, constantly. Yah, who, mam, me, smarati, remembers, nityashaha, always, tasya, for him, aham, I, sulabha, easily attainable, partha, is Arjuna, of course, nityayuktasa. This is important. Nityayuktasa, ever steadfast. Yogina, the yogi about which you are talking. This shloka is one of the most comprehensive assurances given by Lord Krishna in the entire Bhagavad Gita. Ananyacheta satatam yomam smarati nityaha tasyaham surah partha nityayuktasa yogina. After describing demanding yogic disciplines in earlier shlokas, what we discussed at length, Shri Bhagavan now reveals a simple yet profound truth. Unwavering remembrance alone makes God easily attainable. The keyword is Ananyacheta. A mind that does not wander towards alternatives, fixed only on God. It does not mean abandoning worldly duties, but rather not seeking refuge in anything other than the divine. Such a mind may engage in action, in relationship, in responsibilities, yet its inner anchor remains firmly in the God. Externally, you may be doing anything. Internally, you should anchor yourself firmly in the God. Satatam and Nityasha, two very important words are here. Emphasize continuity. This remembrance is not occasional prayer or crisis-driven devotion, which we normally do. Where in crisis we offer prayer to the God. But God says, no, this is not correct. Satatam and Nityasha. The living awareness that flows through daily life. Eating, walking, resting, everything becomes permeated with remembrance of God. That is Satatam Nityasha. The revolutionary statement is next. This is a revolutionary statement God makes in this shloka. Tasyaham sulava. I am easily attainable to such a person. Unlike other paths requiring extreme austerities or technical mastery, bhakti is accessible. God does not demand perfection. He wants only sincerity and steadiness in your efforts. Krishna addresses Arjuna as Partha, reminding him that even a warrior immersed in worldly conflict can attain God through constant remembrance. You are in Yuddhabhumi, but keep remembering me. Body, let the body do its karma. Mentally, you remember me. Last station we said, Mamonas Pariyuddhecha. Spiritual realization is not revealed through monks alone. It's not reserved for monks alone. Samsari people can also realize the spirituality. The phrase Nitya Yuktasa Yogina describes the highest yogi, not one who withdraws from life, but one who is always united with the divine through awareness. That is Nitya Yuktasa Yogina. This is the Bhakti Yoga in the purest form, Nitya Yuktasa Yogina. This shloka teaches a powerful spiritual law to us. What is the law? God is drawn into loving remembrance just as iron is drawn to a magnet. God gets attracted to our bhakti like the iron gets attracted to the magnet. For such a devotee, liberation is not distant. God himself becomes the seeker's companion, his guide, and his ultimate refuge. We discussed in 13th Adhyay, Upadrashta Numanda cha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara Paramatmiti cha Pikto Dehesmin Purusha Paraha. In this shloka, God first says Ananyacheta. In entire Bhagavad Gita, this is the only shlok in which Shri Krishna Bhagavan says he is easily attainable. Many shlokas it is very difficult to attain God, but this shloka is exclusive. It says Sulabha Partha. I am easily attainable, Arjuna. However, the condition he states is Ananyacheta. The mind should be attached to no one else but only to the God. This condition of exclusivity is often repeated in Gita in many shlokas. For example, in 9th Adhyay, you know the shloka? Ananyacheta satatam yoma ananyaschintayanto mam yajana puripasate tesha nityabhiyuktana yoga kshema vahamyam. Ananyacheta, they are also ananyacheta. Then in 18th Adhyay, 62nd shloka says, Tameva sharanam gaccha sarvabhavena bharata tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapsasi shashvatam. And in the same Adhyay, 66th shloka says, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam raja ahantva sarvapapebhyo mokshayishyami ma shujaha. So this exclusivity has been expected by God in many shlokas in Gita. A striver whose mind is not attracted in the least towards the prosperity and pleasures and remains absorbed in God and does not depend on anyone besides the God is of undivided mind. He depends only on the God. Such a striver worships the God endowed with attributes such as Shri Ram, Shri Krishna, Shiva, Durga, Ganesha, Surya. He, without thinking of other forms of God as different from his own, worships his favorite deity with exclusive devotion. He can worship any devotee, any deity, with exclusive devotion. That is the condition. He has firm conviction that he is only God's and only God is his. He is of none else and none else is his. Satatam yomam smriti nityashaha. Satatam means constantly. From the time he is awake to the time he goes to sleep is satatam. Nityasha means always. That is, he thinks of God from the day he knew the God till he breathes his last on this earth is nityashaha. This is important as the devotee makes sometimes mistake that they love God, but they also love and get attached to the worldly people and worldly objects. So whatever positive gains they accomplish through sadhana become tarnished by the worldly attachment. एक हाथ से किया कुछ काम, दूसरे हाथ से वो फालतू गया वो वेस्ट. If you apply, suppose, soap on a cloth to cleanse the cloth, but simultaneously keep pouring dirt on it, your effort will be an exercise in futility. एक हाथ से साफ करे, दूसरे हाथ से उसके ऊपर गंदगी गिरा रहे हैं, तो can the cloth become clean? So the mantras of Ananyacheta and Satam and Nityashaha are to be followed for attaining Shri Krishna. Then he will be easily attainable, he says, Sulabha. And this is the promise from him in this shloka. If you follow these three conditions of Ananyacheta, Satatam and Nityashaha, nobody can stop you from getting Krishna. Tasyam Sulabha Partha Nitya Yuktasya Yoginaha. I am easily attainable to such a devotee, God says, who is absorbed in me. Absorbed in me does not mean that his mind is constantly, it dwells upon me. But it means that he is devoted to me in a dedicated spirit, with full faith and full love. For instance, a man always remembers that he is a man and not a woman. Do you have to remember this, that I am a man and not a woman? He does not have to even think of it. It is so natural and deep-rooted. Nobody has to remember that he is a man and not a woman. And same thing with women also. She knows she is a woman, not a man. He who attains this affinity is called absorbed in me. That is similar with the devotee. He should remember God like this, as he remember himself that he is a man. He should remember God like with this form. If he accepts that his body and mind, etc., are his own, then I cannot be easily attainable to such a devotee. If he thinks that his mind and body are belonging to him, then I cannot be attained by him. He who maintains the affinity with me, who gets absorbed in me, for him tasyam sulva partha. The fact is that we have an identity with the God, not with the world. Because we are mame mausha jiva loke. Our identity with the world is impossible. But by error, we identify ourselves with the bodies and think that God is separate from us. The result is that we we have to follow the cycle of birth and death till we understand and accept this reality and act accordingly. Not in this life, next life, next life. But one day we have to accept this reality that we have identity with the God, not with the world. And when we realize the reality, the God can be easily attainable to us. Why not realize now in this life to attain the God? So why not to realize this identity in this birth itself? Constant contemplation of Bhagavad Gita is an easy way to make us realize this reality, that our connection is with the God, not with the world. So follow Swamiji's mantra. Puja Swamiji always says, Gita padhe padhaye aur jivan mein laye. If we follow this mantra also, we can attain moksha. When a devotee holds that there is no other entity besides God, then how will his mind wander? Why will it wander? And where will it go? Therefore, he naturally and automatically becomes Ananya-Cheta. And this also leads him to satisfy other prerequisites of Satatam Yumam Smarati Nityashaha. Thinking of this slok from another point of view, what do we remember Ananya, Nitya and Satatam? Ananya, Nitya and Satatam. Does the mother remember her son Nitya and Nityasha and Satatam? The mother who dearly loves her child, even she does not remember the child constantly, at all moments. She forgets the child while she is carrying out her daily activities, or when she is enjoying her kitty party with her friends, or when the son has gone to the play school or to the kindergarten. In fact, she takes a sigh of relief when the son is gone. So when will the child remember? Will the child remember his mother Nityasha and Satatam? The child will remember his mother when he is hungry, and or he needs something, or he has some wants. Then he will remember his mother, yes. But that is not Nityasha and Satatam. When he grows up, the child grows up and he gets busy with his school, college and friends, the mother he seldomly remembers when he is away. When he gets married, the wife takes charge of him and the mother becomes secondary in his life. But does the husband remember his wife Satatam and Nityasha? Does the relationship satisfy this Ananya, Satatam, Nityasha, husband and wife relationship? Really speaking, no, it does not. You try and test any of your relationship in the world that is satisfy these three conditions: Ananya, Satatam, Nityasha. Friend to friend, husband to wife, son and parents, teacher and student, any relationship, you will conclude that none of these relationships are Ananya, Satatam and Nityasha at the same time. So then what relationship satisfies this condition of Ananya, Satatam and Nityasha? What condition? So that we know that if we know one condition would satisfy these three conditions, then we'll know how to remember Krishna. Like that. Our mind is like a monkey. It keeps jumping from one subject to another subject. It does not remain fixed on a subject continuously. And Sri Krishna Bhagavan is expecting here, Ananya-Cheta, Satatam, Nityashaha. How to keep mind on these three conditions when mind is a monkey? Other point is, you remember something what you know. Suppose if I ask you to remember the mother of my watchman of the society, will you remember the mother of my watchman? You have never seen her. How can you remember something which you have not seen, you have not heard of? So who satisfies these prerequisites of Ananya, Satatam, Nityashaha? The answer to this $1 million question is you. You never forget yourself. As you regard this body to be your identity, even when someone calls your name, when you are dozing off, you wake up to respond that call. Since your childhood till today, the only person you constantly remember and always have a dialogue is you, yourself. So this relationship of you with yourself satisfies this condition: Ananya, Satatam and Nityashaha. Thus, You never forget yourself. Now, to bring this relationship between us and Shri Krishna, as he wants that we remember him Ananya, Satatam and Nityashaha, the only option is to eliminate the distinction between you and Shri Krishna. You remember you always Ananya, Satatam, Chetasa. Now Shri Krishna wants that you remember him Ananya, Satatam and Chetasa, Nityashaha. So if you want to bring this in relationship with Shri Krishna and you, the only option is to eliminate the distinction between you and Shri Krishna. That is in effect, you become Shri Krishna. When you become Shri Krishna, you will never forget yourself. You will always be Ananya, Satatam and Nityashaha. If I am separate from Shri Krishna, then how can I ever be Ananya, Satatam and Nityashaha? If I am Shri Krishna, then I cannot be separate from him. If I am Shri Krishna, how can I ever forget my own self? If I am separate from Shri Krishna, then I will not be able to remember Shri Krishna for a prolonged time. Thus, he who has seen his oneness with Shri Krishna, he alone can remember Shri Krishna continually, unceasingly, uninterruptedly. I am Brahma. I am the Adhyajna. Until one does not experience this, how can one then abide in its continual remembrance? God wants that continual remembrance. As long as God is separate, distinct from you, you can never continually remember the God. The veritable truth is that you can never ever unceasingly remember anyone other than you yourself. So develop this thought. I am Shri Krishna. Then we will never forget Shri Krishna. Easier said than done, but this is the key. And the God says he is easily attainable. That means God is not a rarity, but the devotee who have known him are rare. Now the constant remembrance of Supreme with unwavering devotion leads to easy attainment of God is what we have learned so far in this adhyaya. Meera was a nurse working in night shifts in a very busy government hospital. Her work was demanding, long hours, critical patients, emotional stress, and very little time for herself. She had responsibilities at home also, financial pressures, and almost no opportunity for former spiritual practices like long meditation or pilgrimages. Yet, Meera had one simple habit. Every morning, before leaving home, she would silently say, "Whatever I do today, let it be an offering to you." That was the prayer to the God she used to make every day. While checking vitals of the patients, administering their medicines, or comforting anxious relatives of those patients, she would inwardly repeat God's name, not loudly, not ritually, but lovingly. When situations became tense or patients were lost, she would whisper within, "You are with me." Years passed. She continued this practice. Years passed. Her life was not free from struggle, but something within her remained steady. Even colleagues noticed her calm presence during emergencies in the hospital. One night, Meera herself collapsed during the duty due to a sudden brain hemorrhage. She was taken to the ICU in the same hospital, the same ward where she had cared for countless patients. She was admitted to that ward. A consciousness faded. Her lips moved faintly. A junior nurse leaned closer and heard her softly murmuring the divine name she had repeated all her life. She passed away peacefully within minutes. Later, the hospital staff spoke of her not just as a competent nurse, but as someone who carried an unusual serenity even in chaos. This shloka, it says, "For one who constantly remembers me without deviation, I am easily attainable. So Meera did not renounce the world. She did not sit in forests or in monasteries. She lived fully within duty with unbroken inner remembrance. Can you follow the example of Meera? And whatever activity we are doing in our daily life, can we have that unbroken inner remembrance in our life? Meera's final moment was not engineered. It was natural, shaped by lifetime of devotion. When the death came unexpectedly, her mind went instinctively to what it had always held closest, the inner remembrance. The teaching of this small anecdote is remembrance at death is not forced, it is cultivated daily. God is not attained by withdrawal alone, but by loving constancy. Busy life is not an obstacle. Forgetfulness is the obstacle. What occupies the heart throughout the life appears effortlessly at the final moment. The essence of this in one line is, when God is remembered in ordinary moments, He is naturally remembered in the life's final moments. The message of this Bhagavad Gita shloka is very clear. When God is remembered in the ordinary moments, He is naturally remembered in the final moments. Next shloka. Mamopeत्य पुनर्जन्म दुःखालयम शाश्वतम् नाप्नुवन्तिमात्मानं संसिद्धिं परमं गताः. After explaining how to realize Him, now Shri Krishna Bhagavan in this shloka and the next one explains the merits of His realization. Once you realize the God through all the shlokas that we have discussed today until now, until the last shloka, God says, if you follow this, what you will gain is this. After having attained me, the great souls, He is calling them Mahatma, are no longer subject to rebirth in this world, which is transient and full of misery. Punarjanma dukkhalayam shashvatam. Because they have attained the highest perfection. Paramangatim. Paramangataha. Punarjanma is rebirth again. Dukkhalayam, the abode of sorrow. Ashashvatam, impermanent. Na apnuvanti, do not attain. Mahatmana, the great souls. Samsiddhim, perfection. Paramam, supreme. Gataha, having reached there. So here Shri Krishna Bhagavan explains why attaining Him is the highest goal. This world, however pleasant it may seem, is described as dukkhalayam and ashashvatam, the place of sorrow and impermanence. Even joy here carries the seeds of loss, decay, and separation. Outwardly, it may be a joy. By saying Mamapetya, Shri Krishna declares the union with the divine ends the cycle of birth. Liberation is not temporary relief, but permanent freedom from suffering. Mahatmas, the great souls, God says, are those who clearly understand this truth. They do not seek repeated births. Even in the higher worlds, they don't want Swarga also. Because all conditioned existence remain impermanent. Ashashvatam. Samsiddhim paramangataha, God says. Means they have reached the ultimate perfection, complete fulfillment of human life. Such souls do not return to samsara because their ignorance has been destroyed. This shloka firmly establishes moksha as freedom from rebirth. Not merely moral improvement or heavenly reward, but freedom from rebirth is moksha. So what is the result of attaining God? Those who become God realized get released from the cycle of birth and death and reach the divine abode, the feet of God. Thus they do not have to take the birth in this material world, which is a place of suffering. And 13th Adhyaya also we learned. Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshanu darshanam. We suffer a painful process of birth, crying helplessly in the womb of mother, suffering the spicy, sour food eaten by the mother, and this goes on for 9 long months. Then the babies As babies, we have needs that we cannot express also. So we keep crying. When we become slightly younger, we have to grapple with the physical desires that make us suffer mental anguish. Because every desire doesn't get fulfilled. In married life, we endure the quirky, sometimes funny and unacceptable habits, behaviors of our spouse. When we reach the old age, we suffer from our own body and our own mind, suffer from the ignorance and insults meted out to us by the very same children for whom we suffered throughout the life. In addition, the pain of body weakness and diseases are there. So all through life, we suffer the miseries from our own body and our mind. The behavior of others and environment, disturbing environment. Finally, we suffer the pain of death, which cannot be expressed in words also. But mind you, all these miseries is not meaningless. It has a purpose in the grand design of God. It gives us the realization that material world is not our permanent home. It is like a reformatory. ये हमारा बाल सुधार केंद्र है. For souls like us who have returned their back towards God, this is our Bal Sudhar Kendra, reformatory. We did not suffer miseries here. If we did not suffer miseries here in this material world, we would never develop desire for God. For example, if we put our hand in the fire, two things will happen. The skin starts burning. Okay, that is a physical thing. But the neurons create a sensation of pain in the brain. The burning of skin is a bad thing, of course, yes. But of course, the sensation of pain is a good thing in a way. If we did not experience the pain, we would not withdraw the hand from the fire. When the pain is registered by the brain, we immediately withdraw our hand from the fire. Otherwise, it would have suffered extreme damage. If the pain was not there, we would not remove the hand from the fire. It would result in extreme damage. The pain is thus an indication that something is wrong which needs to be corrected. Similarly, the pain we suffer in this material world is God's signals that our consciousness is defective. Something is wrong in our life. That's why we are suffering. And we need to progress from material consciousness towards the union with the God. Ultimately, we get whatever we have made ourselves worthy of through our own chosen efforts. Those who remain with their consciousness turned away from God continue rotating in the wheel of birth and death. And those who achieve exclusive devotion to God attain his divine abode. As simple as that. Shri Krishna Bhagavan says, the choice is yours. I am showing you a mirror. ऐसा करेंगे तो ऐसा होगा, वैसा करेंगे तो वैसा होगा. आप डिसाइड करिए what you want to do. Ultimately, you have been bestowed upon the freedom to think and freedom to act. My job is to show you the mirror. Now you decide what you want. You want to come this dukhalama shashvatam, or you want to come to me to get rid of all this forever. Next sloka. Abrahma bhuvana loka punaravartinorjana mahupetya kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. In all the words of this material creation, right up to Brahmaloka, the abode of Brahmadeva, you will be subject to rebirth and death, O Arjuna. But on attaining my abode, Mamupetya, O son of Kunti, Kaunteya, Punarjanma na vidyate. There is no further rebirth. Brahma Bhuvanat, that means up to Brahmaloka. Loka is world. Punaravartina, subject to return. Mama Upetya, attaining me. Tu means but. Kaunteya, son of Kunti, Arjuna, Punarjanma, rebirth, na vidyate, does not exist. This sloka delivers a cosmic perspective on liberation, moksha. Even the highest heavenly world, that is Brahmaloka, is still within the cycle of birth and death. Shri Krishna Bhagavan dismantles the illusion that spiritual success means ascending to Swargaloka, higher worlds. All such attainments are temporary. The contrast is sharp in this shloka. Attain all worlds and return. Go up to Brahmaloka also, no problem, but return. आप ब्रह्मलोका पुनरावर्ती नो वापिस आना पड़ेगा. Even if you attain Brahmaloka, attaining Krishna, no return. Mamupetta punarjanma na vidyate. Attaining Shri Krishna, no rebirth. This shloka clarifies the true liberation lies beyond cosmic hierarchy. Moksha is not only special elevation, but transcendence of time and causation. That is moksha. The Vedic scriptures, our Vedic scriptures, they describe 7 planes of existence lower than the earthly plane. Tal, Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Rasatal and Patal. These are the 7 worlds below the earth. These are called Narak or the hellish abodes. There are 7 planes of existence starting from the earth and above. They are Bhuva, Bhuvaha, Swaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha and Satyaha. These are called the Swargaloka or celestial abodes. Other religions have copied all this from our Sanatana Dharma. The different planes of existence are called various worlds. 7 up and 7 down. These are the 14 worlds in existence. They are called 14 Bhuvan, 14 Bhuvan. The highest among them is the abode of Brahmaloka. All these lokas are within the realm of Maya of God. All are under the Maya of God. And the residents of these lokas are subject to birth and death. Shri Krishna referred to these lokas in the earlier shloka as Dukkhalayam and Ashashvatam. They are all Dukkhalayam and Ashashvatam, impermanent and full of miseries. Even Indra, the king of celestial gods, has to die one day. Tamki jad ki patti hai fir. Indra has to die, the king of gods. The Puranas relate one Indra engaged. There is a story in Purana that Indra Bhagwan engaged Vishwakarma, the celestial architect, in the construction of a huge palace for him. Tired of the huge construction, Vishwakarma prayed to the god for help. ये इंद्र बहुत परेशान कर रहे हैं, इतना बड़ा महल बनने के लिए बोल रहे हैं. God came there and he asked Indra, such a huge palace, how many Vishwakarmas have been engaged in this? It's making. Indra was surprised. How many Vishwakarma? He replied, I thought there was only one Vishwakarma. God smiled and said, in this universe, there are 14 worlds. There are unlimited universes. Each one has one Indra and one Vishwakarma. You are not only one Indra. Then Indra saw a line of ants walking towards him. He was surprised and inquired about the origin of these ants. God said, I have brought all those souls who were Indras once in their past lifetime. And now they have acquired the bodies of ants. Indra was astonished with the vast number of ants. That means all these were Indras earlier. Shortly after that, Lomash Rishi, he came on the scene. He was carrying a straw mat on his head, chatai. And on his chest, there was a circle of hair. Some hair had fallen off from that circle of hair on his chest, creating gaps. Indra received the sage and politely asked him, Rishiji, why do you carry this straw mattress on your head? And what is the meaning of this hair circle on your chest, where I see many hair are missing? Lomash Rishi replied, I have received the boon of Chirayu, long life. Chirayu means long life. At the end of one Indra's tenure in this universe, one hair falls from my chest. That explains the gap in the circle. My disciple wishes to build a big house for me to stay in. But I think life is so temporary. So why build a residence? I keep this straw mattress on my head, which protects me from the rain and from the sun. And at the night, I spread it on the ground and go to sleep. Why do I need residence? Indra was highly surprised, thinking, this Rishi has a lifespan of many Indras. And yet he says life is temporary. Then why am I building such a huge palace for me? His pride quashed. And he let go Vishwakarma, saying that, sorry, I don't want any big palace. You can go now. While reading these stories, we must also not fail to marvel at the amazing insights of Bhagavad Gita on the cosmology of this entire universe. How big is universe? As late as 16th century, next shloka. Sahasrayuga paryantam aharyad brahmano viduhu ratrayuga sahasrantam ho ratravido janaha. 1 day of Brahmadeva, that is Kalpa, it lasts 1,000 cycles of 4 ages, Mahayuga. And his night also extends the same span of time. The wise who know this understand the reality of day and night. Sahasrayuga paryantam, lasting 1,000 yugas. Aha is day, yat, which, Brahmana, O Brahma, Ratrim, night, Yuga Sahasra Antam, ending after 1,000 yugas. Te means those, Aho Ratra Vida. Vida means to know. Aha is day, Ratra is night, knowers of day and night. Jana, the people. This shloka introduces cosmic time, showing the vast scale of creation. A single day of Brahmadeva spans 1,000 yugas, far beyond the human imagination. By revealing this, Sri Krishna Bhagavan teaches detachment from even cosmic permanence. If even Brahma's lifespan ends, what happens? What hope is there for us? Sahasrayuga Paryantam, Brahmadeva also goes, no? True wisdom lies in realizing the time itself is a binding force, and liberation lies beyond that time. The measurement of time in cosmology of Vedas is also vast and staggering. For example, there are insects that are born in the night. They grow, procreate, lay eggs, grow old, all in one night. All in one night. In the morning, you will see them all dead. Under the street light, you will see them all dead. If these insects are told that human beings live up to 100 years, they would ridicule it. 100 years, क्या बात कर रहे हैं? We live for a few hours and there are some species who live 100 years. Impossible. On the other side of the scale, the Vedas state that 1 day and 1 night of celestial gods such as Indra and Varun corresponds to 1 year on the earth. By this calculation, 1 year of celestial gods consists of 30 days into 12 months is equal to 360 years on the earth. And after 12,000 years of celestial gods correspond to 1 Mahayug, cycle of 4 yugas on the earth. That means 4,320,000 earth years. 12,000 celestial years multiplied by 360 earthly years. 1,000 such Mahayugas comprise 1 Brahmadeva, 1 day of Brahmadeva. This is called Kalpa. It is the largest unit of time in the world. Equal to that is Brahmadeva's night also. By these calculations, Brahmadeva lives for 100 years. 1 day and 1 night is this long, and like this he lives for 100 years. By earth calculations, that comes to 311 trillion and 40 billion years. So by earth time calculation, Brahmadeva's life is 311 trillion and 40 billion years. Then even Brahmadeva perishes and merges into the God, who is imperishable. Only God is imperishable. Brahmadeva is also perishable. Thus, Vedic calculation of time are as follows. Kali Yuga, 4,32,000 years. Dwapar Yuga, 8,64,000 years. Treta Yuga, 1,296,000 years. Satya Yuga, 1,728,000 years. Together they comprise 1 Mahayuga. If we add all this, it will come to 4,320,000 years. 1,000 such Mahayuga. That is 1 day of Brahma, which is 4,320,000 million. 320 million. 4,320 million. And of equal duration is Brahmadeva's night. Shri Krishna Bhagavan says, those who know this calendar of the universe, they are the true knower of day and night. They realize how insignificant we are in this universe compared to Brahmadeva's life. Compared to Brahmadeva's life, we are not even the moths of the monsoon who come and within few minutes die. They live at least for a few minutes, but compared to Brahmadeva's life, our life is not even few minutes. The entire duration of universe is equal to Brahma's lifespan of 100 years. That is 311 trillion and 40 billion years. Brahmadeva is also a soul who attained that position in his present life and is executing his duties for the God. He is like the general manager of a company called Universe, and he will also say goodbye one day when another Brahmadeva will take charge from him. So Brahmadeva is also subject to life and death. But how lucky we are to get a promise from Shri Krishna that if we realize God and leave this body in his remembrance, we will be released from the cycle of birth and death forever and go to the abode of God. We'll take one more sloka. Avyakta sarva prabhavante haragame ratragame praliyante tatreva avyakta sanjake. At the end of Brahmadeva's day, all living beings emanate from the unmanifested source. And at the fall of night of Brahmadeva, all embodied beings again merge into the unmanifest source. We will not go through word to word meaning. So this shloka explains the cyclical process of cosmic creation and dissolution. Lord Shri Krishna reveals that all manifested beings arise from the avyakta, the unmanifest causal state, and return to it again and again. The avyakta is not non-existence. It is the potential existence like a seed containing the entire tree in the latent form. We say tree is avyakta. Okay, it is avyakta, but it is hidden in that seed, no? At the dawn of Brahmadeva's day, Aharagame, all beings emerge into visible existence. When Brahmadeva night arrives, Ratrya Agame, they dissolve back into the unmanifest. This eternal rhythm shows that creation is not a one-time event, nor is the destruction the final annihilation. Everything appears, disappears, and reappears in cycles governed by the cosmic law. For human seekers, this shloka delivers a sobering truth. Individual existence is a part of a vast, impersonal cosmic repetition. We are part of the cycle. No personal achievement, possessions, or status escapes this cycle. Civilizations rise and fall, species emerge and vanish, even worlds dissolve. Recognizing this impermanence is the first step towards detachment. Shri Krishna Bhagavan is guiding Arjuna away from identifying with the transient forms and towards seeking the unchanging reality beyond manifestation. In the amazing cosmic play of the universe, the various worlds, we have seen the planes 7 above and 7 down, and their planetary system, it undergoes the repeated cycle of creation, preservation, and destruction. Utpatti, Sthiti, and Pralay. At the end of Brahmadeva's day, corresponding to 4 billion and 320 million years, all the planetary system go to the Maharlok. Up to the Maharlok are destroyed. This is called Naimittik Pralaya, partial dissolution. In Śrīmad-Bhagavad, Shukadeva, he tells Parikshit that just as a child makes structures with the toys during the day and dismantles them before sleeping, similarly, Brahmadeva creates the planetary system and their life forms when he wakes up and dismantles them before he goes to the sleep. At the end of Brahmadeva's life of 100 years, the entire universe is dissolved. At this end, the entire material creation winds up. Maya, then gets merged into Lord Vishnu. This is called Prakriti Pralay or Mahapralay. Great dissolution. Again, when Lord Vishnu wishes to create, he glances at the material energy in the form of Prakriti, and by his mere glance, it begins unfolding. From Prakriti, Mahan is created. From Mahan, cosmic Ahankar is created. From Ahankar, Pancha Tanmatras are created. And from Pancha Tanmatra, Pancha Mahabhuta are created. In this way, unlimited universes get created. Modern day scientists estimate that there are 100 billion stars in the Milky Way. 100 billion stars in the Milky Way. Like the Milky Way, there are 1 billion galaxies in the universe. Thus, by the estimates of scientists, there are 10 raised to 20. 10 raised to 20, these are the number of stars in this universe. This is how the vast universe is. And God says, Brahmadeva creates this, and this goes into dissolution. Ratragame Praliyante Tatre Vavsanchike. So, Pravati Haragame, when the night of Brahmadeva appears, all this gets dissolved. When the day of Brahmadeva starts, all this again come into manifestation. I don't know whether we should stop here now and we'll take the remaining slokas in the next session. Thank you so much for your patience. Now the forum is open for you to raise your questions. Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you, Bhaiya. Thank you very much. I extend my heartfelt gratitude for this wonderful and thought-provoking session. Your presentation was very enlightening, and all the insights imparted were of great and profound knowledge. Those who have any questions, kindly raise your hands and start your video so that we can take your questions. Yes, MBSV Prasad ji, please start your video. Unmute yourself, Bhaiya. You can ask the question. Yes.
Yes, madam. What is the difference between this in 14th sloka and Satatam and Nityasaha? What is the difference?
Satatam, as I said, Satatam is when you wake up in the morning. So you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go to the bed at 10 o'clock in the night. So from morning 5 o'clock till 10 o'clock in the night, that is Satatam. That is Satatam. And Nityasha is every day. Every day means since the day you know about God till the day you breathe your last. That is Nityasha. Every day you have to remember God. From 5 o'clock in the morning when you wake up till 10 o'clock in the night when you go to bed, that is for whole lifetime. When you know the God till you take your last breath on the earth. So that is Satatam and Nityasha. And that also is to be Ananya Cheta. That means only God is to be remembered, nothing else. So these three conditions are expected by Shri Krishna. Ananya Cheta. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhaiya. GC Krishna Mohan ji, unmute yourself, please. Unmute, Bhaiya, unmute, yeah. Yes.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna.
First of all, I am blessed to have listened to your discourse, Guruji. Thank you so much.
Dhanyavad.
Like you have explained the exclusivity of God. Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyajima manaskuru. Mame vaishasi sattante pratijane priyosime sarvadharma prajalo. So like that it goes. In many forms, God says, I'm available, I'm available. Be
Yes.
like this.
Yes.
Guruji, I have one small, what do you call, the jignasu in my mind. You said to achieve salvation or moksha, Sri Krishna Bhagavan has given us the many techniques or logistics or framework, like, Sarvadvarani Samyama or Omite Aksharam Brahma, all these pranayams and all that. But I have also read in Puranas about the story of a papi called Ajamila. So all his life was a wayward, and at the end, when the Antekal came, he calls out his son Narayana,
Ah.
and by the utterance of the word Narayan, he attains salvation. How is it? This is little confusing to me.
See, for people
Because-
like us to expect that we'll suddenly remember Narayana at the end of life is something not realistic.
Correct.
It might have happened in that particular case because he had some past samskars of that, but we may not have be having those samskars with us. So to expect that we'll suddenly remember God and change the gear from materialistic life to spiritual life suddenly at the last moment, when we don't know whether we'll be in conscious state or not, whether we're in coma, half coma, or what way. So to expect that we'll utter Narayana is a far-fetched dream for us. So that's
It
why God
happens
has
in
given
Gajendra
us.
Moksha also.
So for us, the best solution is what Shri Krishna is asking us to do in Gita.
Correct.
Learngeeta,
Regular
Satam,
procedure.
Nityasha. That you follow,
Correct.
and then he gives a guarantee, no?
Yes.
So when he says it is guaranteed that if you follow these three conditions, Ananyacheta, Satam, Nityasha, then you will attain me without any samshaya, without any doubt. So let us follow this prescription from the God. Isn't it? Why to depend on
Maybe
some
once in a day,
mythological
stray cases happen like that because of
Ah,
sanskar.
Yeah.
Correct. So we can't take the easy way out.
Yeah,
Namaskar,
right.
Guruji. Thank you so much.
Namaskar.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Balchandra Bhaiya, yes, please ask.
Ji, Pranam Dada, thank you so much
Pranam.
for such a adbhut commentary on Gita ji. It was mesmerizing, no doubt. I have
Jai.
one question on technique.
Yeah.
Actually, we talk a lot of prana in physical form. That is where what we breathe in and breathe out. It contains pranavayu and all that. And in spirituality also, prana has got immense importance. So what is that difference? Can you please elaborate?
Difference between what?
What we breathe in and what prana actually in spirituality is called. So you
See, the air
mentioned
that
pran in many time, establishing pran in Bhru, Madhyan, etc. All that, and we
yes,
breathe pran also. Air we breathe
see
in,
that
right? Yeah.
see that air that we breathe in is called the life breath. The moment the life breath stops, our prana leaves the body. So the prana in the body is nothing but that life breath only. The air that we get in is our life breath. That is prana for us. The moment it stops, our body stops functioning, and the life, it leaves the body. So for us, the prana is the life air that we inhale. That is our life. That is our prana.
So in Shastras, this is called 5 types of prana and all that. What is that?
Prana, prana, apan, all those five types of pranas are there. But the most important for us is our inhaling and exhaling. We cannot stop exhaling also.
Yeah.
You cannot. If you are asked to stop exhaling for more than 2 minutes, we'll start getting suffocated. So for us, that is the prana that we get in, we release. We get in, we release. That is prana for us. Prana vayu.
Right.
For us,
Yeah.
technical terms for prana is our prana vayu, that we inhale and that we exhale. So we should consider that as our prana only.
Right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mamta Didi, please unmute yourself.
Yes. Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya. Thank you
Yes,
so much for your amazing Vivation session, Bhaiya.
thank you.
And I had a question regarding that. You said 5 Tanu Matras, Bhaiya. Those Tanu Matras are Sabd Ras, Roop Ras, Gandh? Sabd Sparsh,
Ah,
Roop Ras, Gandh?
Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandha, Arthan Matras, right.
Okay. And Bhaiya, another thing is that in the 11th Adhyaya, last sloka, like Krishna says, Mat karma krin mat parmo mat bhakta sangvarjitah nirvaira sarvabhutetu yasamameti pandava. This means ki, yes. So this means his bhakts should be sangvarjita and nirvairas. And then he can
You should not have
attain Krishna.
enmity. Don't have enmity with anyone. That is nirvaira. Don't have vaira with anybody.
And that means ki, those who will be like that, they can attain Krishna. Nirvairas and
Yeah.
sangvarjita.
No, the first line is important. Mat karma. you do all your karmas for me. You are eating, you are sleeping, you are talking, you are
What?
walking. All karmas you are doing for me. So mat karma. Kurun mat paramo. You become
Okay.
pariah, you become dependent, you become refugee of me only. You take refuge on me only. Mad bhakta, you become my devotee only. And Sanghavarjitaha, give up all asaktis in the life, all attachments,
Yeah.
all mamatas in the life. That is Sanghavarjita. And Nirvaira Sarva Bhuteshu. Don't have enmity with any bhuta, any pranis. If you follow this mat karma, krun mat paramo, mat bhakta, Sanghavarjita, and Nirvaira Sarva Bhuteshu, then God says, Mamiti Pandava. Then you can attain me.
Okay. Okay, well, this was only my question. Because in the 53rd sloka of the 11th chapter, God is saying, Naham Veder na tapsa na dane na chejaya.
Yeah.
Like,
Shakya eva vido dushtamanasi yatha. So this kind
yeah.
of thing, whether you study Vedas or you follow all charities, dana, or do any sattvic karma, na chejaya, shakya eva vido dushtamani yatha. So even if you follow all these sattvic karmas, even then you cannot see the God in that form which Arjuna has seen.
Okay. Thank you, Bhaiya.
Okay, thank you.
Arpana Didi.
Yes, Jai Shri Krishna, Bhaiya.
Jai Shri Krishna.
You have explained very nicely, Bhaiya. First of all, I must just thank you for that. And so I have one question. You were explaining Ida Nadi, Ida Pingla, and Shushumna. As I am also a yoga teacher, so I
Okay.
know, yeah, Ida is your left, Pingla is your right, and Shushumna Nadi, sir,
In the center.
towards from the center, but it
Yes.
passes through here towards the forehead, and then. So, can you please explain about Sushumna Nadi in better way, Bhaiya? Sir.
Sushumna Nadi is balancing of both the nostrils. Normally when we do the breathing, when you do pranayam, or you do any sort of pranayam, we definitely see that either of the nostrils, either right nostril is very active or the left is nostril active. So either
Yeah.
Sushumna is, Ida is very active, Chandra Nadi, or the Surya Nadi, either Ida or Pingla. But
Yes.
when we balance both the breathings through right and left nostril, we attain equilibrium. That is Sushumna. When we attain equilibrium of breathing through right and left nostril, then the Sushumna gets activated. And that is what we have to attain. Attainment, awakening of Sushumna. When Sushumna gets
Yes.
activated, then that Bhrur Madhya Prana can be attained.
Yeah.
When only Ida or Pingla is active, then you cannot attain that Bhrur Madhya Prana Avashek Sambhak. If you want to attain prana here in your Ajna Chakra, then it should be attained through Sushumna.
Sushumna Nadi, yeah.
And that can be done by balancing the equilibrium between right nostril and left nostril.
Yeah, correct. You have said one story about Meera, if I am not wrong.
Yes.
Okay, I want to ask that, is this a true story of Meera?
No, you take it as an anecdote.
Because I have
But
never heard.
we such stories happening all around us.
Yeah.
It is
So
an
it looks,
anecdote.
seems
It may
like
not
it's
be a real story.
okay,
Yeah.
not a real story.
Not real story.
Okay.
It may be
That's it
real
from
also, I don't know. Because many such things happen around us. We need to keep our eyes
Yeah.
open to see where Gita is happening.
Yeah.
Gita is happening around us every day. Every moment it is
But
happening.
the way you explained it, right, Bhaiya, it seems that it was true stories. That's why I asked you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. That's it from my side.
Thank you, Bhaiya. Thank you for this again wonderful and thought-provoking session. And all these examples and the answers that you have given, they are deep learning imparted by you, and we should be able to adapt them in our lives.
Didi, sorry, there is one video I have to share.
Okay, Didi, you share the video first.
Ji.
Now, it's not just about learning the Gita. It's also about playing with the Gita. On the auspicious occasion of Geeta Jayanti, the Geeta Jayanti Olympiad has been launched by Geeta Pariwar. This Olympiad is open to everyone and participation is completely free of cost. The Olympiad includes 5 weeks and 5 special rounds where each round combines learning with play. And finally, there is the grand finale, a magnificent live competition. For every activity, you will earn credits. And these credits will help you move up the leaderboard. Along with the joy of playing, there are prizes worth rupees 1 lakh, certificates and special recognitions. So come, don't just read the Gita, live it, play with it and celebrate it. Register now at play.learngeeta.com.
Okay, that was about the Olympiad that is newly.
Yeah, it's about the Olympiad. All are invited to participate in Olympiad. Maybe with Krishna's blessings, you can win some reward.
Right there. Thank you, Bhaiya. Thank you once again for this beautiful session and question answer round. I would like to thank each and every one of the sadhakas for attending today's session. We'll meet again in the next week's enlightening session. I also want to thank the hardworking, very vigilant technical team for their continuous efforts in making this session a great success. And now is the time to offer the prayer once again in the lotus feet of Shri Krishna. For that, I would like to invite Dr. Monica Sharma ji, who is joining Geeta Pariwar from 2024 January as a sadhak. And then from December 2024, she is giving seva in the calling department. She's also giving seva as trainer in 2025. And she is also giving seva in the Kanthasthi current classes. And she's also joined the Vishnu Sahasranam and Ram Raksha Stot groups also. Welcome, Monica Didi.
जय श्री कृष्ण दीदी, जय श्री कृष्ण भैया, सभी को जय श्री कृष्ण। योगेशं सच्चिदानन्दं वासुदेवं व्रजप्रियं धर्मसंस्थापकं वीरं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्।
Thank you, Didi. Thank you for the beautiful prayer. And now is the time for Hanuman Chalisa.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारि बरन रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फलचारि बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा गानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र ध्वजा विराजय कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजय शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबेको आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबेको रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सिंहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर सहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही समभाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावै अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावै सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीना तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र योजन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर पल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज समारो आपै तीनों लोक हाकते कापै भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवै महावीर जब नाम सुनावै नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावै मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावै सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा जिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावै सोई अमित जीवन फल पावै चारों जुग प्रताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धिनो निधि के दाता असबर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावै जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावै अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटई मिटई सब पीरा जो सुमिरै हनुमत बल बीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़ हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय।
जय श्री कृष्ण।
Recording stopped.
you.